welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of the Ballrooms and Bachelors podcast, where we talk about dance life and all things Bachelor. I'm Camille.
And I'm Matthew.
And today we're going to do our special Q&A episode. As you can see, we have a different...
Yes, we're all like casual over here. We're all comfy. I love it.
Changed it up a little bit.
Yes.
So we took some of the questions that we received. Thank you all for
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Questions from some of our friends and from Elena.
Yes.
You all sent us a ton of questions that we were able to kind of break it up into different categories, mix it in with some topics we wanted to talk about, and we have a great rapid fire section at the end.
I'm very excited for that. That's going to be so much fun. I know.
Related questions.
Yes.
I think we have a good mix of a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I think we'll get to know us and stuff about the shows and then just crazy stuff in the rapid fire. Yeah. So we'll have some fun. Yeah.
So I think just to get started, what we wanted to go through is some topics just to, if this is your first time tuning in, just some topics to get to know more about us, the podcast, the shows that we watch, just like our general thoughts before we dive into more questions and that are related and unrelated.
Yeah.
So I'll kick us off.
Okay.
So this whole section is just like our topics.
Yes.
We wanted to go into. So we wanted to just go into like how we started watching each of the shows, Bachelor shows, Dancing with the Stars, and then how did we feel about it when we started watching?
Yeah.
And then did we think we'd still be watching this many years later?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So I said I'll start because I've been watching a lot longer. So I think it's like and I should have known this, 2002 or so. I know that when The Bachelor premiered, I think my mom was like watching it a bit on ABC.
Yeah.
And I remembered I saw like the tail end of the one season where Trista was she was a contestant on The Bachelor. Yeah. And I think there was another season of The Bachelor, but then Trista got announced as a Bachelorette.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that was the first season that I actually started watching because my mom had watched the tail end and heard like Alex like dumped Trista, and then we're like, okay, I'll watch it. I was 11 years old. But I don't know. It was just like a show that I started watching with my mom. Mm-hmm. And I guess at that point, like I was young. Like I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, I'm gonna watch this lady date 25 men.
It's like, wait, what?
And I'm like, I guess at the time I'm just like, okay, like this is just a show. Like it's a show.
Yeah.
I had to have that thought process at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always mix up like when Dancing with the Stars started after that time, but Trista was a contestant on the first season of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
And being that I was a competitive figure skater growing up, and I had done dance like ballet, tap, jazz, theater, all that. Like it just sounded like an interesting show. Mm-hmm. So I think like from the get-go, I feel like we're an ABC family. We watch a lot of the ABC shows.
Yes.
So I just like watched it from the beginning, and I enjoyed Dancing with the Stars then. I thought it was cool. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's kind of how I felt about it then.
Yeah.
Did I think I'd still be watching the shows now? I have no idea because I was like 11 and 12. So
yeah.
It just was just like, I'm gonna watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that was really that.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I know. It's just like, it's such a crazy question to like think of because like, again, like you said, we've both been watching the shows for quite a long time. And for me, and I know we talked about this, I think in one of our earlier episodes of kind of our history with the shows and everything like that. But my first season of the Bachelor franchise was Emily Maynard's season of The Bachelorette, which was about like 2012, 13-ish, I think. Sounds about right. So I was probably about like 13 years old at the time. So similar age, and again, kind of like, I don't even know what this show is really going to be about. Like, why am I even like watching this?
Yeah.
But I think it was actually, now thinking back at it, and I think I mentioned this in the time we mentioned this earlier too. It was when they still had the results shows for Dancing with the Stars on Tuesday nights. And I think it was one of those things where Emily's premiere was going to be like after the results show. Yeah. So it was like the results show was going to be from like 8 to 9, and then like 9 to 11 was going to be like the premiere of The Bachelorette. And my mom was like, oh yeah, because I was like looking, I guess, on the guide on the TV. And I was like, oh, Bachelorette. I'm like, I've never seen this before. And my mom was like, oh yeah, I've watched some seasons and stuff. I think you'd like this show. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I was like, it's kind of cool to see kind of some. Obviously, there's a lot of producer involvement and influence in the show, but quote unquote real life, I guess, situations in the show and stuff, to see something that like actual people going around and doing things and stuff like that in this setting, I think is really cool. And kind of like we've talked about before with like having like following the people from the franchise after the show as well. Like I kind of thought that at the time the cast was really cool too. Like people were very engaging and there were funny moments and stuff like that as well. So that was my first season of the Bachelor franchise. And kind of similar to Dancing with the Stars. I started watching Dancing with the Stars in season 4, I believe. Yes, which was like 2007. Because I think because you were saying you weren't sure when it actually started. I think it started in 2005. I think. That sounds about right. I think I've heard something like that. 2005 or something like that. But yeah, but it's just like around that time frame. Yeah. So I started watching in 2007, which was season 4, and that's the season when Apollo Antonono won. And I thought that was really cool because I think obviously since it was earlier, like in the series, then I started watching the Bachelor franchise. I was much younger. I was like maybe 7, 8 years old when Dancing with the Stars started, or when I started watching it. Yeah. And at that time, it was interesting because I had never really seen ballroom dancing before, or any kind of dancing. I've always loved performing and the arts and everything since I was really little, and like listening to music and watching performances and stuff. But that was really like my first kind of real opportunity of seeing that kind of stuff on TV. And like I said in one of our earlier episodes as well, that I remember that I would like mimic some of the routines like in front of my TV. Like if somebody did a New Yorker, I try to do it, which is like crazy to look out now because like I'm like doing that stuff in my routines now. So it's like crazy to like even look back at that and like, wait, I'm doing that stuff now too. So it's really a kind of a full circle thing. But at the time, like you were saying, I thought they were fun shows. Again, like I had said, because with The Bachelor, it was just cool to kind of see something different. And same thing with Dancing with the Stars, like that kind of dancing, like every single week and new routines and the celebrities doing that stuff and everything. Like you said, do I think I'd still be watching it now? That's a very hard question. I think I would have had I don't know. I think I would have a better time believing I would be watching Dancing with the Stars now than the Bachelor franchise. Yeah. Just because, again, I wasn't sure if I'd grow out of the Bachelor franchise. Obviously, I have, and I still love it. And I sure as I did not think I'd be starting or co-hosting a podcast with one of my close friends about these two shows at that time when I started watching them. So that's a really full circle moment.
Yes, they were a thing kind of when you started watching The Bachelor. They were not really a thing.
No. And I don't think they were really a thing when I started watching Dancing with the Stars in 2007. Yeah, no, probably not. So yeah, so it's kind of cool to like it all comes full circle that I've been watching these shows for probably 2/3 of my life, and now we're doing a podcast about this, and I think it's super fun. So yeah, these shows have kept us engaged for a long time. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Yes. So this is really interesting, kind of going along with the shows as well. So we wanted to talk about what do we think of the changes with the shows in recent years, and why do we still enjoy watching them now? Yes. So, okay, I will go first in this. So, like, I gotta like come up with like answers really quickly now. So I gotta figure that out. But so obviously there's been a lot of changes in these two shows recently. And I think we kind of talked about this when we brought the podcast back with Paradise, because like we talked about, I think in the first or second episode of us recapping that this season, they completely changed the creative team and production team, like 100%. Everybody's new. And so obviously it looked a lot more like I think like Love Island, and I've seen that they've kind of been shooting. They shot like Golden Bachelor similarly to that, and they have like kind of different things that they're implementing and stuff. Obviously with the money on the Paradise and stuff like that this past season, and then with Dancing with the Stars, I think it's hard or interesting just because obviously there's been a lot of changes with that show as well. I think the biggest one, at least, this happened a long time ago, so this is not really recent. But them only being on the air for 1 day a week, that's a big thing. And we mentioned that. And then also, like we mentioned in the last episode, they are only on, there's only one season a year now. Because when we started watching it, there were 2 seasons every year, the spring and the fall. Yeah. And starting with Dancing with the Stars, like we talked about in the last episode, I would not complain about them bringing back 2 seasons a year again. And I think that would, especially with the resurgence like on Instagram and TikTok and all these social media things that like the pros are doing now, it's such a huge resurgence in this show. I think that I have not seen in a very long time with people engaged in it. So I think they would have a lot of success having more like than 1 season a year. I think people would be talking about it. It's like, oh, this would be so awesome. And then you're just getting more of the content and more of that stuff. So I think that would be a really welcome change. And then also with the result shows, like we were talking about last time as well, that I just think having the whole country being able to vote in real time, and then also like the votes would carry over into the next night like they used to, rather than like, oh, you get like 2 hours to vote and then that's it, and then the person goes home. It feels kind of rushed. Like it's still kind of, it works, but that's something I wish that maybe would change. One of the changes that they've made recently that I really like is the like social media engagement, and I think that just comes with the time. Kind of just the social media climate that we're in, that you want to get that content out there and stuff like that. But I like that they're doing like the TikTok live and everything like that, and showing the behind the scenes and everything. I think that's super cool. I love how all the pros are really getting engaged on social media as well. I think those are really cool changes that they've made as well. I think that's pretty much it for dancing. For The Bachelor, it's interesting because I like the changes that they brought back with more kind of the way that they're shooting it. I think it kind of makes it interesting. It's interesting about with with Paradise, with the whole money thing, because like we talked about that. They're probably not going to be able to do the same thing they're not the same way, because obviously that's going to be like a repeat and everybody knows how it's going to work, so they're going to have to come up with something new. I think one of the other changes that they made was obviously with Taylor Frankie Paul being our new lead for The Bachelorette. That's like a real big like celebrity casting that they usually have not done. Like they did that with Mel, obviously he was known, and a few people have been known on the franchise, but they've kind of gone out of their way to like just cast a fan favorite from, or a popular person from the previous season of the show, and not really had a famous person. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna like pan out, but that's pretty much it in terms of like the opinions I have about the show, but or at least the changes. I enjoy watching both shows now still. That I really like, they're really entertaining, obviously, and I think that's the point, the reality TV. But I think for The Bachelor, again, I think I really like watching the friendships that are being formed, and again, we follow the people after the show and everything, and maybe they start podcasts or they have stuff that's going on. It's fun to follow them. I still like watching even if people think that maybe stuff doesn't work out, I still like watching love stories unfold, no matter how crazy the situations may be. That's the part of the Bachelor franchise I still really enjoy watching. And in dancing, it's kind of the same thing that intrigued me at the time when I first started watching it. Is I love watching people get out of their comfort zone. I love watching people doing something new. I really think also, since now that like we are both dancers as well, like I watch the show a lot as inspiration, or for inspiration as well, because I'll see a lot of the pros post stuff, or they'll do stuff at competitions. I'm like, oh, I can like use that, and it gives me inspiration to continue my own dance journey as well. So I think that's another reason why I really enjoy watching Dancing with the Stars still as well. So
I think for myself, I mean, there's a lot of this like same thing. You know, the changes in the years, like I think I was able to, you know, being that I'm a little older, like I was able to see a difference between the shows like before social media and after social media.
Right.
So I think both of them in that regard, like it's been a huge thing. I think like as far as the Bachelor franchise, like it was really from like Chris Soules' season, like the people from that season were like the first group that kind of like, you know, started to like really take off on social media, because you're talking about like Ashley I, Caitlin Bristow. And then I mean they were the main ones from like that season. Every season after that, it's like I think it did shift a lot of the cast, in the sense of like a lot of them just went on to get noticed. And it just became like a whole other trope, like or storyline, like in the show that didn't happen. I think, you know, like that kind of, again, it was like changing with the times. And I think social media for like Dancing with the Stars, I think a lot of it now is just because we've said it, as much as like the dancing's great, we have the judging and the critiques and they grow and this whole thing. I think a lot of the time the way that the voting is structured, it boils down to a popularity contest. So like they are in there shooting the TikToks and the reels and posting all this stuff. And it's like, I mean, it's entertaining. I deleted TikTok a few years ago. I don't know. To be determined if I ever
get it back. I
wanted to rebrand, but either way, it's just like I'm not following every single couple and everything they're posting. But it's like, you know, I remember like the season with like Alan and Alana, like posting is hysterical.
So funny.
They were hysterical. I mean, it's just like I like watching all of it, and it's just funny because even like when Caitlin Bristow went back, I think she was saying like, I don't know. I think it was her that she said it on her podcast. Like they go there and they're checking and like prepping and everything. And she's like, we'd be in that rehearsal room. She's like, when I was with Arden, we were like rehearse. Like, okay, take this time, do the TikTok, do the thing, do the whatever. I mean, and I think that's helped with the you know, it's
It's really brought more popularity to the show.
Yeah, so. I think like I like that, but it's also just it's just like different.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still turning out like great routines, so I'm like, wow, kudos to you for turning out these amazing routines
yes.
while like not practicing as much because you're making time for social content.
Yes, that's so crazy. Yeah.
But I think there was a time like they switched and like Tyra was
the host
was the host, and I think there was a certain period like I like her, but I think the way that they made it, it was pivoting away from the dancing a bit, the focus at sometimes, which I didn't love.
Yeah.
But I think they're on a good path now. Yes. I like that they've had the theme weeks. I think
that's been cool. Fun. Yeah.
It just gives them a little bit more of an, I don't know. I think that builds to the hype.
Yeah.
And then I think just like with the Bachelor shows, I mean, I'm happy that they've adapted to certain things. Like, I mean, I think just like having, some of the casting, some of it's been a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care to watch any of these other reality shows.
Yeah.
I watch Bachelor shows and that's it. Like, I don't really want to turn on Love Island or Love's Blind or
all that stuff.
Shows. Yeah. Like, I just don't have the time. I'm like, this is the show I watch. This is it.
Yeah.
And I think similar things. Like, I still enjoy watching the dancing for the inspiration and all of that. And just, I like hearing the stories of the different people and seeing their growth and like learning and being able to express themselves through dance. Right. And for the Bachelor shows, I mean, I like watching love stories unfold. I mean, the drama sometimes I could do without, but I watch the shows enough to know that when they get to the other side, and then there are people that I do sometimes resonate with from the show, and I follow on social media, and just like watching how their story unfolds. Mm-hmm. We eventually see a handful of them on Paradise.
Yeah.
Like we want to see that, and it's nice knowing all the characters by the time you get to Paradise, because then like Alex and Andrew, like are together now after being in Paradise, and it's like I remember following Andrew from like his season, and then Alex like on one of the more recent seasons. So it's like you get to know the background of them.
The people, and
it's just like they're funny, they have interesting stories. I mean, like I'm not going to follow every single person, but like even recently, like Chris Bukowski and Anna got It's like it's a network. Like these people go into this like Bachelor network, and so I just like seeing all that. Like even like Caitlin Bristow, I think posted something the other day. Like there was like that trend or what everybody's doing. They're like, oh, make sure you say yes or blah blah blah. There's all these things, and I just like I realized like wow, it's been so many years since I watched her show.
Yeah,
I mean I got to meet her.
Yes.
At Lady World very briefly.
It was fun.
I know. I've sat and I've just like listened to her stuff over the years, and like she's been in relationships and that didn't work out, and like moved and changed and like got new dogs, and dogs have had health issues and things like that, and she shares about like her own struggles, and I think there's just a lot that there's like a community that I've enjoyed like
me too,
and whatever.
It's just entertaining.
So it's like when I went up to talk to her, like I think when I was like trying to figure out, I was like, I'm gonna ask her a question, and it was something that I knew like she'd be able to give me some good guidance on, and I'm still delayed on posting a Lady World's recap post on the.
But that will be coming soon.
It's coming soon. I'm also behind on posting on my personal page.
There you go. Yeah.
So I think we've exhausted that topic.
Yes.
So how did we each start at Dance With Me?
Oh wow.
So I started I was a competitive figure skater since I was 6 years old. When I was getting ready to be closer to retiring, I knew that I just wanted to. I've always loved Dancing with the Stars and watching the show, and I was like, I would love to do ballroom dancing as just like a hobby, and see maybe it's something that would just be like a nice, I don't say replacement, but something like a new hobby to do that like when I know I'm wrapping up my competitive figure skating that I can like try and do that. And I really hadn't done much dance after 7th grade. Like I was still doing ballet to just maintain for skating, and like maybe I do a different class here and there, but like I really hadn't danced like different styles in a long time. So I knew this was something I wanted to do. So it was 2016.
Wow.
No. Yes, 2016. Because June is my 10-year anniversary.
That's so crazy.
Studio. And I just remembered I was still competing, and I was doing my Gloria Estefan routine. And my skating coach was basically like, do you know how to like shake like that? And I was like, well, I'm gonna go for some ballroom lessons, and like I'm also half Cuban, so like I know
it's just in me. It's in me. Yeah. There you go.
I'm half Cuban,
right?
So but I did start Googling, and I was like, oh, let me just look up ballroom studios in the area, and like there's a few different ones, especially in our area, but I remembered when I landed on Dance With Me's page, it was just like a weird coincidence that a guy that I knew from college, he had done ballroom growing up, I think trained with Max and Val.
Mm-hmm.
His brother also did, and he was an instructor at the studio at the time in the Glen Rock location.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking at the staff and I see him. I see Vlad, and I'm like looking and I text his brother and I was like, wait a second, is this your brother? Like that teaches at the studio?
Yeah.
And he said yes. So anyway, Vlad eventually went on to be on the troupe on Dancing with the Stars after he left Dance With Me. But it was just like at that point I was like, this is like a connection that I have, and this is like I'm gonna go here and try it out. And I started at Glen Rock. You know, I've gone to our Fort Lee location sometimes because I kind of live in between the two studios.
Yeah.
And and I just like I started initially just doing like some like the private lessons, group classes. Like I was just learning a little bit of everything. And then, you know, once I retired from skating, I started to like pick up, do different things in the showcases, and then got into Latin and then standard, and then.
I love that. Yeah. That's awesome. It's like, it's so crazy to like think back about how these experiences, like, because you were saying 10 years, that's probably so crazy to like think about like, how fast things have gone. Like I'm like half the time, and it's still crazy for me to even think about. So how I started to Dance With Me was kind of like we were talking about with at the beginning, where like watching Dancing with the Stars, that was something that I always just loved watching as a kid. And when I was younger, I also watched So You Think You Can Dance and all those dance shows and everything like that. And I think we might have talked about this also in one of the episodes we did earlier as well, about kind of how I got into dance and stuff. But like I was saying then was I had always kind of had this dream in the back of my mind that I've always kind of loved performing and being in front of people and doing stuff with the arts and everything like that. But I just kind of never got into it. And so years and years went by, and like middle school, high school, all that stuff, I still like hadn't gotten into it. There were times where I had called around ballroom studios and stuff. Didn't really seem like the right fit. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not the right time. And then I remember actually one of my family members, I think like 5 years prior to me starting, I remember that they called me and they're like, oh yeah, Max and Val opened another studio called Dance With Me, or opened the studio called Dance With Me, where they live in Texas. And it was one of the Texas locations. And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And I just didn't really think too much of it, but I just thought it was super cool that they opened the studio. And I looked online and I remember that they were like posting stuff. I was like, that's super cool. And then I remember in 2020, that's kind of when I decided I really want to make this kind of dream a reality, to like start dancing, because that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Obviously, pandemic, so like that kind of delayed my start a little bit longer. But in the fall of 2021, I remember looking through kind of dance studios in the area, like you were saying, similar to you. And our studio came up because it's obviously pretty close to where I'm from. And I was like, wait, isn't that the same studio that like my grandma said that was opening in Texas that Max and Val opened? And I was like, oh yeah, I put two and two together. And I was like, yeah, that's so cool. And so I was like, let me look for more information in terms of like what I can do or how I can get started. And so I remember very, very vividly, and I'm sure Elena could tell you the same exact story too. I called the studio and Elena answered the phone, and I think she could tell how excited I was about like it's like I'm almost embarrassed to tell the story because I was just so excited. But because I remember I was like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Max and Val, Dance with the Stars, and everything like that, and I was like, oh, I'd love to come in for an intro lesson and everything. And she was like, oh, and I told her that I had like dances I wanted to learn, and I was like, I can name 10 for you right now if you want to. And she was like, let's stick with 3. Let's take it slow. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. I think, again, she just knew I was so excited. I was really excited to do that. And so I did my intro lesson with Elena, which I'm really, really grateful and thankful that like she is still my instructor to this day, because I know some people with our friends at the studio have not had that luxury of having the same instructor their entire time. And I know you know that very well. A lot of changes, yes. So I do not take that for granted at all, because as a lot of people probably may or may not know, when you have a ballroom partner or just a dance partner in general, you get very, very close with them. And when you compete and share just lessons with them, everything like that, you're with them all the time. Yeah. So I'm very grateful that I have had the same instructor the entire time I've been at the studio. And I remember I did my intro lesson. It was great. I remember, I think, I'm trying to remember what we did. I think, again, it was the typical stuff that they usually do, where they like, oh, this is how it feels to like lead or follow or whatever. They just kind of like walk you back and forth across the floor and everything like that. And then they teach you like basics for salsa and bachata, all that stuff. And about like 5 to 10 minutes into the lesson, I was like, yes, I really like this, and I know this is probably going to be a really big part of my life going forward, and it obviously has been.
Yeah.
So that has been great. And then, like you were saying, it kind of was like, I think at the beginning they really like stick to a lot of the beginner stuff, so they kind of throw a lot at you. So I was doing like Latin and standard and social and stuff like that, and they're smooth, and they just kind of throw stuff at you and see what sticks and what you like.
Yeah.
So then, like 4 months into me being there, 3 months, Elena and I just started doing exclusively Latin. And then I started doing standard a few years after that.
Yeah.
And then I've been doing the showcases and competing a few months after that, or a few months after I started. So that's been really fun. And this coming September will be 5 years of me being there, which is insane. Like that's again, like you were saying, 10 years for half the time. Exactly. So like I can't even imagine probably what 10 years feels like for you, because 5 years for me feels like an eternity ago, but also I started yesterday at the same time. So it's been a huge, huge blessing to my life, and I'm just so grateful for all the friends we've made, obviously, and then obviously I've gotten to have big friendships with the instructors and get close with them as well, and it's obviously been a huge part of my life as well. So it's been great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think I'll let you go segue into the next one.
Okay.
How we met at the studio.
Oh, this is a doozy of a story. Yeah. It's like,
and then also because I think it kind of also goes into the next two things of like why we're
right. Yes, it does. It does. Yes. So this is going to be a really interesting kind of look back at like history of this because like it's a pretty interesting story. So I remember it was very random too, which is why I think it's so funny that we ended up becoming as close as we are and making the podcast and stuff like that. So ironically enough, because we had the workout class last night with Elena, and this is like it segues into the story. So I think it was 2022, yes, because it was like it was going into the new year 2022 because we started the podcast.
2021. Wait, because you just said it was 2021 in the fall. It was right after. Oh wait,
because it was spring of 2020. We didn't start until the summer.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I was about to say. I was like, it's like
you're talking about the podcast. I'm like, I met you before.
Yeah. I was about to say. I was like, we're in the. It's like we're getting all these things. Yeah. There's a lot of information. But yes. So we, again, like I had said, I had started at the studio in September of 2021. And then, because that's what I was thinking, because like we talked at the Thanksgiving party, I think, a little bit, but I didn't really start interacting with all our friends that we have now, like, until the new year.
Yeah.
So that was, And so in January, I think this was the first time maybe Elena taught the workout class. I know you said that like a lot of our other, or your instructors used to do so. David and Misha did one.
He left the studio, but yeah. It shifted.
It shifted. Yeah. So Elena was teaching the workout class at that time as well, and it was in January of 2022. And I think at the time, again, we did the class and everything like that, and then I was kind of like in the mindset that I kind of had started feeling comfortable at the studio because obviously I'd been there for like 5 months at that point, and I was about like less than a month away from doing my first competition. So I felt kind of like solidified in the studio and not being a complete newbie, I guess you could say. And so I saw you, and I think there were a few other people talking, and I went over, and I think I maybe talked to a few people prior, maybe some of our other friends before. And so I saw them talking with you, and we were all kind of conversing and stuff, and I was kind of just listening. And then you said something about The Bachelor, and I forgot what it was. You were like, I can't believe that this or something like that. And I'm like,
like a recent premiere or something.
Yeah, it was something. It was some kind of drama thing or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that. Also, you're like, wait, you watch it too? And then you said it exactly like that. And I think you were just so excited that we like both like watched the show.
Just like somebody else,
because like no one really else at the studio watches these shows. Just Dancing with the Stars.
We're grateful for your question.
Exactly, for sure. And so, long story short, we kind of hit it off and became friends and everything, and then we started talking. And then again, that kind of leads into the next.
Yeah, I think you had asked me, and it was probably around like I think it might have been shortly after, like we met and we discovered that because you were asking if I would be interested in doing like a podcast like about The Bachelor, and I think at first I'm like I don't know, I don't really have time. Like I'm still at the full-time job I had then, and in a very different capacity now, but I think like it took a few months, and then I think we were talking again, and then we brought it up, and then I was like, you know what, maybe this is something that would be interesting to do. And I forgot I forgot exactly what happened, but I think what I was basically saying is like I just felt like the podcast space was just so saturated with everything that was Bachelor only.
Yeah.
So part of me was like trying to use my marketing skills that I with my business essential certification in college. I was like, no, we gotta like brand it differently. And then that's like our friends that were at the studio at the time, like we're
kind of conversing.
One of our friends really actually helped us come up with the name Ballrooms.
Shout out to you.
Yeah. Yes. Like I was like you know who you are. If you're watching.
Yes. All these years later.
She hasn't been as involved with the studio lately, but no, she did help us come up with the name because I said, we also we have the similarity of dancing.
Yes.
We also watch Dancing with the Stars. There's less Dancing with the Stars podcast. At least then. Now there's more.
There's a lot now,
There's a lot now.
But I also think we have sorry.
No, but I was just gonna say, I just wanted to make sure that I'm okay, take what we have in common, that we can talk about us, we could talk about Dancing with the Stars, we could talk about the Bachelor show.
Yes.
And then go ahead and then
Yes, and I think that is kind of like you were saying, we really wanted to kind of brand ourselves differently than a lot of the other Bachelor podcasts. And I think the reason why I was wanting to start a podcast about these things was because I'm a fan, I think even at the time, of watching a lot of recap things, stuff like that at the time. And I was like, oh, now that I've met somebody that I've become really good friends with that also likes these shows, or maybe this would be kind of a fun, creative thing. And I think both of us were in the same boat where we'll always want to take on, time permitting and stuff going on, new creative projects. I think that's something that we both really enjoy.
Yeah.
And because of that, and I think that's another thing that kind of sets us apart maybe from other podcasts as well, is that we also dance.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times from at least for the Dancing with the Stars podcast, there's some people that know dance stuff and everything like that. But not only do we do other styles of dance, we compete in ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that happens on the show, we actually have the experience in doing that as well, which I think not a lot of podcasts have that advantage.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and we've also met Tony Davolani was involved with the studio prior to when I had joined. Prior to when you had joined the studio.
Yeah.
So, he got a different role and isn't involved with our studio anymore. But I met him. I've met people from the shows.
We've
met people.
We've met people. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of our vision at the time. I know I was let's put it on YouTube because I think a lot of podcasts are switching to YouTube, and I'm I know how to upload on YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. I don't know about all these other platforms.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I wanted, and I said to Matthew, I was people can find our stuff on YouTube, just perusing around.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of, I don't know, I think that was the vision at the beginning of just to do a creative
something new, yeah.
And I think I've always I have a full-time job in pharma, which can be very demanding, but I've always wanted to have creative projects. I have other plans for myself for different creative projects, and I think even at that time I was let's try it, because I think this also, Matthew's in school for film and everything, and this is kind of in line with more of your regular full-time career path.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this is just a hobby that I want to have.
Yeah.
But and I just want to, maybe I can develop the skills if we're just working on it together. I can kind of flush out some ideas for my own stuff down there.
Yeah.
And I think we had to kind of pause because I think it was just too demanding for both of us, and I think it was hard because a lot of these other podcasts that do the recaps, they they get advanced screenings of the show. They have time. They have
other editors.
They have editors.
Yes.
Matthew does all the editing for the show.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm trying to help us with some social media and organizing, but I think that's where it just was very demanding, and unfortunately, I had to kind of tell Matthew we have to stop. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a rough period of time and everything.
Yeah.
And for me just to regroup, and it was it just didn't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these two questions kind of got combined, but
yeah.
I think what was when I know I talked about it in the podcast when we season 2, kind of when we came back in the summer, I just said I want to give it a try again. I think, but we have to. I mean, we went in the weekly episodes. We've kind of tailored it back to the monthly right now, give or take.
Yeah.
Just less frequently, but I think we've just kind of talked about it, and we just want to still share our knowledge, and just I think we enjoyed just having the community with our friends.
Yes.
That do listen. If other people that we've had people join the studio and then they come listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
Later on, people would come up to us even in between when we weren't filming, and it was just nice. And I'm you know what, we don't. I mean, this is more in your career path.
Yeah.
But I'm we don't have millions of followers and listeners, and it's that's fine. But I was I think that just realizing, I think for me, it just was I just want to make an impact in the community that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And and we just get to chat.
Yes, exactly.
Dissect the show, invent. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe we can convince some of our friends to watch the shows.
Yes.
You know,
I think we have sometimes. Yeah. Yes.
That's kind of like, I think how the vision, like, it's still a lot of the same things, but I think just now that like our lives, and we'll get into that in a second because I want to give you a second.
Yes.
I'm in on the vision, but I think that since our lives have changed
so much
in that time, I think that it just I was like, you know what, it's different now, and like we just want to fit it in the best way we can fit it in with our other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of going back to what you were saying, like the vision at the beginning was the same thing. Like I wanted, like obviously I had somebody in my life that like also enjoyed the shows as much as I did, and like a lot of times, like obviously my parents, like I've got, like my mom has watched the shows with me for a long time, and I've got my dad, and I've got my dad into watching the Bachelor franchise. Like he's like my new buddy watching like the Bachelor stuff now. So
my dad sometimes watches it, not all the time.
I love that. But like besides that, not really any of my friends at school watch the shows really. I guess some of them watch anything with the songs, my dance club friends. So this was before I even started in college. Or like I was just new, so I didn't know any of my dance club friends at the time. So at that time, I didn't have really any friends or people that I knew to actually talk about the show. So it was really like I'd sit with my thoughts and opinions and stuff by myself, and that was pretty much it. So I was like, oh, this would be really fun to have this outlet, maybe connect with some new people, all that stuff, make some content for social media, everything like that. And like you said, it's also close to like kind of what I'm doing career path wise as well with the content and the arts and the creative stuff, everything like that. And then kind of when we fast forward to when we had to take the break in 2023, like I'm not gonna lie, and I think how we felt like at the time, at the end of the day, it was absolutely the right decision, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't really like sad about it, just because we had really created this really good rhythm, and I think we were both having a really good time. So when you sent me that text, like we really got to stop, I was acknowledged in my mind. I was like, yes, it's really true. But I was also like really sad because I was like, this is something that's really cool. So kind of in the back of my head, I was like, maybe one day this will come back. But now becoming
I was just like, I was reminiscing of my 9-year Dance With Me anniversary, like posting things while I was in Nashville, and I was like, I don't know.
Good old times.
Like change it up, you know, because I've navigated a lot of changes in the past year, and I was like, maybe I need to change something.
Exactly.
And it just seemed like it just like struck a chord with me.
Exactly.
And I came back from that trip, and I'm like,
guess what?
This is the last thing I have time for right now, but I'm going to do it.
And again, that was so funny because again, at the time, we both acknowledged that it was the right decision. And one of the things we kind of talked about in our own time was I was like a semester or two away from going to live abroad for a semester. And I remember you were saying like, go enjoy that. Because I know there's a lot of things in college that like, if we really focus so much on this, like a hobby or a passion, you might not be able to experience things that will really, really impact your life for a lifetime. And obviously studying abroad and living abroad did for me. And we were trying to think about, well, if I'm living abroad, how can we do this logistically? And I don't think you'd be able to work. So, and at the
recording till like 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Exactly. And at the time, we were recording till like 1 a.m. on Zoom. And at the time when we first started, we were doing Paradise and The Bachelorette. So we were watching, like, sometimes there'd be like 2 episodes of The Bachelorette with it was both Gabby and Rachel's season. And then the 2 episodes. So it'd be like 6 or 7 hours of TV. Dancing with the Stars at the time. There was sometimes where there were like 3 shows we had to watch at the same time. So some of our old episodes, if you look back, are like 2.5 hours long. So, and that's like with me editing down like a third of it too.
Yeah, and I think we were both at the time very involved at the dance studio with lessons and group clubs and things. I think we both kind of now we're like in a situation where like we go for like we pick and choose what we're going to do. So I think it's just like where we're at with the dance journey. I think it like allowed more space just like for the podcast.
Exactly. And that's like what you were saying when you like texted me. It was so actually you didn't even text me. And this was I think what made it even better. You sent me a voice note and you were like, hey, I know this might sound really crazy, but I just had this thought like while I'm on my trip, like, would you want to potentially start the podcast again? Think about it, let me know. And that was it. And I was like, wait, I think I was like out to dinner or something like that. And I'm like, wait a second.
You were gonna come to the dance studio and then you said you weren't. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna send you a voice note anyway.
Yeah. So like I had said at the time when we stopped and took our break, like I had kind of secretly hoped in the back of my mind that we would start again, or maybe this would come back in some shape or form. And so the fact that this kind of aligned, and obviously we've experienced a lot of things in life, and we're different, like we've grown and stuff. I think it just made a lot of sense to like bring it back at this time. So
I think we kind of covered a little bit of this, but I'll just like high level, like how we've both changed since we started, and like where we're at now, and how experiences have helped us. I think for me, I've had some different things. Like work has just been an ever-changing
Yeah.
I've been in the same role essentially, but my responsibilities have changed a lot. You know, like I've been with the company 8 years now, and I think it's just like going up through the ranks, like, you know, even if you're not getting like a title change or anything, like you're getting more roles and responsibilities added. And I think just like my relationship to my job has changed, like trying to like better like work-life balance. I think, you know, I in the position, and it's kind of actually is going to like segue into our next thing of like short and long-term goals. Like, you know, I'm older now. I think like as much as I always want dance to be part of my life, and I, as in some capacity, you know, and I've said that before, just like when I joined the studio, I don't want to just feel like I come in, do a bunch of things and then stop, like burn out and stop. I think, you know, at the time we started the podcast, I was still like actively working on dancing and everything. And then when we had to stop, like I was kind of in a phase where I was like realizing I have to be more intentional. Like, like I personally like just prepping for like have a period of time, prep for a competition, and then take a break. I know in general, like if you were planning on actively, regularly competing for ballroom, you've got to always be training.
Always, yes, always.
I did that for years for figure skating, and I'm also like, it was wrestling with the, I know when I go out there on that dance floor, I want to be ready.
Yeah.
But also like, I can't keep grinding the same way of kind of like training. Like there were a lot of other things in my life. Like I kind of felt like I put on hold because I always had to put skating before it. Right. And I was like, I can't do the same thing with dance. Like if I'm committed to a task, that is a priority.
Yes.
But I think like my shift, like I've had to shift a lot of my mindset with that. Like, you know, I want to be in a position that I'm able to grow in my career. I'm able to, you know, hopefully, you know, settle down, get married, have kids, like have my own space, like living space, take care of my own stuff, like my and my family and all that stuff. So like I think like I have to pay attention to finances. I have to pay attention to time. And this stuff. So like I'm adulting. So like that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think just like I was kind of like adulting already. We started the podcast, but I think like now it's just especially now in this phase, like I'm definitely more involved in that adulting moment. But I think at the same token, like I want to make sure that I'm still having time for like, you know, creative projects and stuff where it can fit. And maybe it's not as much or as frequently as it was in my life in the past, but like it will still be there. And then I always know that I can always like dip in and out.
Right, for sure.
So I think that's kind of for me. And I think that's also kind of like covers my short-term and long-term.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably could combine these two as well, because we have the short and long-term goals, creative and personal as the next thing. I think at the time when we started the podcast the first time, obviously, like I said, I was just starting my sophomore year of college, I believe, because it was 2020. Yeah, I was just starting my sophomore year of college. And obviously I was younger at the time, like you were mentioning, and kind of didn't have the responsibilities that I had to think of, like kind of going into like almost finishing college this semester and going into looking for full-time jobs. And like you said, I eventually would like to like settle down and get married and have kids and stuff like that. And that's a big desire of mine. And so kind of even if that's not like soon, like that's something that I do think about in the back of my mind. So I'm like in that adulting moment sometimes as well. And kind of like we've talked about with like my career path and stuff, obviously with me being a film major, I really have like always want to be creative. I always want to be making things. Like I have, and like I've always talked about with many people, my big three passions are dance, music, and film. Those are like the real, and content creation, I would say, is like a close like honorable mention next to film. So I like to immerse myself in all of those, whether it's for school, for work, or just for fun, or for like passions and for just in a hobby. And that's something I'd like to continue in as well. I think kind of at the time when we started, obviously, when you're younger, you don't go through a lot of experiences. You go through a lot of experiences as you go older. So I think a lot of experiences I've gone through from the time that we started to now, I think have helped me grow a lot as a person, mature a lot more emotionally and mentally and emotionally mature and grow, that I think have made me realize kind of what I want to prioritize, kind of like you were saying about the dance thing as well. Like I kind of like, I will give my energy 110% to everything that I put my mind to, but like I'm not going to overwhelm myself with what I like can't like mentally like push myself to do.
Yeah.
So like I'm much more aware of, yes, I can handle this and I'm gonna go all in with this. Like you said, when I commit to something, I'm gonna go. I care about it so much and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I've kind of known like my limits of like anything in life, and I think that's a big thing. So
like balancing everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, like when I had started the show, I hadn't really had much dating experience of my own.
Yeah,
I had a lot more dating experience since we started the show. I am in a relationship now, so I think also it gives me a new perspective of like watching.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff, and I think that's where like I think of all the years like I watched the show and I felt like I was like learning through watching all of them dating and stuff. But I think, having more of my own experience now, I think it helps.
For sure. And I think that's similar with me because again, like not going into too much detail, I've been through more dating experience as well since we started first as well. And I think those experiences, well, like I had said, have really helped me grow in a lot of ways. And like you said, watching the show and then also just personally in my life, you grow up in a lot of ways when you go through these experiences for sure. So I think,
we always think a lot about like the mental health aspect of
these shows.
Like, we obviously talk without when we're not recording too.
Yes. So like it's like we have like these thoughts and everything. So that's always a good thing for sure.
But okay, well we got through all of our main topics.
Yes.
We'll start to just like pivot towards some of the questions.
Yes.
So I tried to categorize them. We looked at the questions, but we really didn't spend any time like going through
really watching them. Yeah, no.
So one of the first questions we have about the shows, our favorite season of Bachelor or Dancing with the Stars and why. So I might just like I'm gonna try to. This isn't our rapid fire section, but I'm gonna try to go quickly.
I'll try to,
I think The Bachelor. It has to. Well, okay, Bachelor, Bachelorette. Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
The guys on her season were great. Like
they're so good.
Greg, Justin, Andrew, and more.
And more. And supporting cast.
Like, that bromance formed on that show was like iconic.
Amazing.
And the season of Dancing with the Stars, I love the season I love the season they did when Adam Rippon won because I used to train with him.
Which is so cool.
At the skating rink. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he remembers me, but I did. And so when he won Dancing with the Stars, like they did like the special season that was like the athletes edition.
Yeah.
And I met Jenna for the first time like right after that season, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I knew Adam skating and all.
Yeah.
So those are my two.
That's so cool. Yeah, for sure. I will also try to go very quickly with this because I have multiple favorites. I would say for the Bachelor franchise, I think just out of nostalgia and like the way just with actually watching them, I would say my favorite both Bachelor and Bachelorette seasons were Emily's of the Bachelorette and it's Sean Lowe's of the Bachelor because they were back to back and obviously that was like brand new watching the franchise at that time. So just kind of on nostalgia's sake, that just brings back a lot of memories. I would say for like entertainment standpoint, that's hard.
Categories.
Yeah, categories. I know.
Like if I have to say Bachelor or Joey Grassaday's season,
I know
it was like ended the best way.
Exactly. So yeah, I would probably say Joey's for the. Okay. I'll probably say Joey's for the Bachelor because again, Joey's great, amazing. Yeah. I love the women on his season. We've gotten to see him more being the official Dancing with the Stars podcast host. We get to see and he went Dancing with the Stars, so he has all that. And again, just also for nostalgic sake, I'll just say because we started watching the or started the podcast at this time, the Bachelorette season with Gabby and Rachel, just because that's the first one we started recapping. So,
what about Dancing with the Stars?
Oh boy, that's difficult. Again, for nostalgic sake, I'll just say season 4 because I remember a lot of stuff because I started watching that season, and then I would probably say we were talking about this in the season prior, and I would probably say, or the episode prior, I would probably say the season, I forgot what season, it might have been like 19 or 20 or something like that. It was the season that Alfonso won because the finalists in that, they were like, all 4 of them were so good in that season. I forgot who like everybody was in it. I think like Sadie Robertson was in it and a few other people. And there were a few other people I remember. But I remember that season was so good and it was really fun to see Alfonso win with Whitney as well. So I would probably say for like entertainment sake, that one for sure.
So the next question this person had, which Bachelor host or contestant made you feel like you lost your none of your life stressing?
Wow. I have a lot for these.
and I'm like literally at this point, I'm like, I can't even like articulate this at this current moment.
No, me neither. I don't even know where to start for this one.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Like that honestly, to the person that asked this question, you stumped us on this one because again, I don't. That's really hard because again, I don't think I would say like a host would like I would have caused me maybe I don't know if like the running time for Chris or Jesse would have stressed me maybe
Even
the whole thing,
the
but
situation with Chris Harrison. Yeah, but like I mean that was a separate
it was like an episode. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't.
Would we?
I'm gonna have to pause this because we're gonna have a long pause
right now. Yes, because I gotta
like at least one. We gotta come up with at least one.
Because the people I'm thinking now are like the people that are quote unquote villains, but in my mind they're like entertaining. Yeah. Because I was gonna say like somebody like oh, I got one. I just thought of it now. But because I was originally gonna say like Corinne, but she didn't stress me out. She was just fun and funny. So like again, the quote unquote villain. But again, I liked her, so I thought that was fun. But what I was gonna say was Victoria from Matt's season of The Bachelor during the pandemic. Queen Victoria, remember where she like wanted to like that's it.
It's like a whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
I think for me it has to be like Jared and Ashley on all those seasons of Paradise.
Yes.
The chaos. Yes. And I love them. I'm happy that they are happily married now. But like those because I loved watching Ashley on the shows, and I also loved seeing Jared on Caitlin's season, and then it was just all the stuff in Paradise, and I'm happy. I guess years of my life stressing because there was this whole saga until they ended up together.
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking too. Is that I think like if I were to like I won't go into any more, but I think if I were to go into more, it would be from Paradise because I think there's just more stressing on Paradise for sure. Yeah.
I was like, there was a lot these past two seasons. Of the show. But I'm like, I think I've learned to deal with it. Those were like when I was like very invested.
Yes.
Okay. If they had to pull every Dancing with the Stars winner into one season, hopefully they haven't yet.
No, I know.
What do you think would come out on top? Because they have done
the All-Star season.
It wasn't like every
winner. It was like some winners, some semifinalists, and like fan favorites.
Yeah, so. I mean, like if you had to go purely on danceability, like Charli D'Amelio.
Hands down, Charli D'Amelio. I probably would say like danceability. I would probably say Charli D'Amelio or I Jennifer Grey too, like when she was there because she was really good.
Yeah.
I would probably say it's between those two for sure, like just danceability. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would be a fun thing, like Dance with the Stars champions. Yeah.
Literally everyone.
Literally everyone. So it'd be like 34 people competing because if you get every season, that would be so crazy. It's just like okay, it's gonna be like a 4-month season. Everybody, it's just like
crazy. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
How has watching Dancing with the Stars changed or enhanced the way you look at your own dancing?
Wow.
Or dancing in general.
Dancing in general, yeah.
Dancing, so.
This is a very big question, and I have a lot to say about this. I think how it's impacted the way I look at dancing. Again, like we talked about in like why we still watch it and enjoy it is I get a lot of inspiration from watching the routines and the pros and everything like that. So that's a big. It's changed and enhanced the way that I look at it because I take inspiration from what people do on the show. Again, kind of like we were talking about, and also at the beginning when like I was saying, I used to like do the New Yorkers in front of my TV and kind of try to mimic them, and like now that's something that we both do, being ballroom dancers and just dancers in general. It's interesting because when we recap, like we were talking about with kind of like the somewhat advantage we have with being dancers that we can actually like critique specific things. I think it's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time because like I can like actually see it's kind of the same thing with me as well with like being a film major and wanting to become a director and filmmaker and everything like that. I watch films way differently than like the average film like watcher would like take in the film. I watch like stuff how the cinematography is done and the colors and the way that the actors are positioned and everything like that. And I wanted to sit and enjoy the movie. And sometimes like I like most of the time I can still do that. But it's the same thing with Dancing with the Stars. Like if I see them do like a move from like one of our in like a technique thing, I'll like be looking for that. And then before I started dancing, that wasn't like a thing that I did watching the show. So that's something I think.
Yeah, I think for me with like just watching the show, I think it's just like understanding like how to interact like with the audience and stuff. I think like you have to work with the cameras and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think just I guess it's kind of like inverse, like starting the dancing. Like it's made me look at the show differently, and than when I did prior. And I think like at this point, like now I can kind of see how they are trying to balance like all the technical requirements, like with the performance stuff.
Yeah.
Looking at that, but I think like watching the show has just helped me, just open my eyes too, like of just like how many different styles of dance there are, and like how just like season after season and like episode after episode. That's why we have so many episodes or like so many dances that we recap in the episode. They're all great and they're all unique, and every person that's on the show has like a different story to like, even like we said, like Dylan and Danielle, like the show their freestyle is like contemporary, and like not that many people go that route. And I think it's just like it just the world of dance is just very, it's like dancing is just very broad, and I think it's just like, all the things that I've seen, like the creativity on the shows over the years, like opened my mind up. And I'm sure it's like, I can't like consciously say it every time, but I know it's like probably subconsciously given me some of the ideas I've had for like showcases
for sure.
I've done.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think just the show has grown so much over the years as well, to where like when we were first starting, when we both started watching the show was like strictly ballroom related. They really wasn't, besides the freestyle, there really wasn't any other stuff. But then like 10, 15 seasons in, then they started adding contemporary and hip hop and jazz and stuff. And so I think, like you said, kind of seeing everybody's unique take on all that stuff has been kind of a cool thing to take from the show as well. So.
The last question for this section was, what's your favorite show out of the ones from your podcast and in general?
Wow.
So I was like, for me, I'm like, I mean, I feel like The Bachelorette, because that was the first one I watched.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was nice because like, even though I was like 11 and I didn't like get it at the time.
Yeah.
I know, I think some people were like criticizing The Bachelor, and still to this day, some people do.
Yeah.
Like criticize The Bachelor of like a guy picking from 25 to 30 girls.
Yeah.
So like the first time, like when they had The Bachelorette picking 20 out of 25 guys, it was like this switch to put like the woman in the decision.
Yeah.
And I'm not like every single season I'm like this, but because like I know they've gone back and forth with the shows.
Yeah.
But I think just like, I guess that was important for me, probably as like a young girl. Like, not that I was gonna go around and date 25 guys, but like, seeing that like the girl was the lead.
Right.
Like that's the one that I have the nostalgia for. I mean, I think shows in general, like I mean, I've watched just different like random shows.
Like,
like, I don't know. I kind of have like a favorite show of the moment. Like I was super into Riverdale. I was like into the CW Nancy Drew that they did a few years ago, ended, and they did all these spin-offs of Riverdale that didn't survive, which I was like upset about, and all this thing. But yeah, I mean, I mostly just watch reality TV.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, yeah, I mean, I've been watching Only Murders in the Building. Like I've been watching that now. I've been watching Superstore. That show's really fun.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That show's really good.
I've been like some it's a Culinary Class Wars. It's a Korean cooking show on Netflix. They came out with season 2. So I'm really excited to watch season 2. I've learned a lot about Korean food. I can't explain it, but like I just keep watching cooking shows, but then I get really hungry.
That is true.
So, and I have watched I did enjoy watching like HGTV stuff over the years, so I'm excited to see the decorating show.
That's really fun.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Watch a little of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Anime too, but we won't get into it. It's fine.
We can do a whole podcast on anime. It's just for me, I would probably say, again,
of these.
Even though I love the Bachelor franchise, I would probably say Dancing with the Stars, just because again that really impacted my life. It's the show that inspired me to start dancing in the first place, and obviously dance has become a huge part of my life. So I would say Dancing with the Stars. And kind of like you were saying, I don't. Those people where like they'll binge all these different shows at the same time and everything. I'm not really like that. Like I'll watch the shows that we recap, and then maybe like you said, I'll watch like Superstore and stuff like that. And that's fun. And then I'll watch I watched The Good Place. I love that show. And then I'll watch, like you said, I love watching the Food Network. So there'll be cooking shows I watch on that. And then honestly, besides that, I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot more YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's like I watch a lot of like travel stuff and music stuff and food and everything. And so that's, I think, where I got a lot of my like content intake is from YouTube and from the internet or social media rather than like TV shows. So I would say the shows I mentioned are the ones I like enjoy watching. So, but
Okay, so those were the questions on the shows.
Yes.
I just wanted to take another point in time because I think pretty much the rest of this is all like questions. So we wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive on dance before we go back to questions.
Yeah.
I think we kind of went over this a little bit before, even like how dance has been impactful for our lives and our dance goals. But maybe we could just say, I don't know, maybe we can do like short term. I think we might have talked about it in the last podcast, but like what are your short term dance goals right now in the next few years? And then
kind of how again.
Let's start with that.
Yeah, I'll start with that, and I'll also go very short or quickly into this how it's been impactful. Kind of how what I tell a lot of people, because a lot of people know that obviously I dance and stuff like that. What I usually like to say, and again, this is not something that like I would have known when I first started dance, but I think the thing that really that I love so much about dance is the phrase I usually tell people is it's a way that I can express myself without having to say words. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really been a huge, amazing thing in my life, because there's some times where, and it's usually in showcases or like in more like storytelling dance, like contemporary hip hop or stuff like that. But I can still express myself, obviously, in ballroom as well, even if there's more technique involved. Mm-hmm. So that's how it's been impactful in my life as well. It's helped me heal in a lot of ways, which is something I would never have guessed. There's a lot of things where experiences I've gone through and everything. That's the healing power of dance is so powerful. And again, that's not something I would have known without experiencing it. Mm-hmm. So that's been amazing. Like we've talked about before for my short-term dance goals, I have a few showcase ideas that Elena and I are going to start working on. We have one in particular, which is a contemporary one that we're talking about. That's very special and important to me. Kind of, again, going to talking about the healing power of dance. I think this is going to be a very healing dance for me. And so that's something I'm really looking forward to. And I think we've talked about in our own time, I am hoping to get back in the Latin standard and maybe do like a virtual mini match, maybe once I finish college. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to kind of get back in competing. Like I've mentioned multiple times, I haven't competed in like 2 years. So pretty much that. It's just kind of competing kind of in the near term or the not too distant future, and then working on showcases, and then not with the studio. This is going to be my very, very sadly my last showcase with my dance club. So that's I'm trying to like not let the emotions, if it get to me like too soon, because I know I'm going to be a mess. Like I'm the last showcase in a few months, but I do have a few goals for that as well, for pieces that I'm going to audition when we start the semester again for the showcase. So yeah, it should be exciting. Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, I think with skating, like over the years I had a lot of opportunity to express myself. I mean, you have routine that is required for certain elements and things like that, but like I was out there like moving my body and like performing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and like even the dance that I had done like growing up in the year, it was like you did the recital dance, like you picked and all the stuff. So like I did for many, many, many years enjoy doing our skating like holiday show. We used to have like an end of the year show, mm-hmm. Where I would just like pick a song. I would make my own program. I just picked whatever, I did fast stuff, I did slow stuff, I did like upbeat, I did meaningful things like or like just for fun. Mm-hmm. I did some group dances with some of my friends from skating. Like we made I think when we were like 16 or something, we like made a dance together.
Yeah.
More of us were out there and doing it. And, like,
that's fun.
For the years, like I've always enjoyed seeing like when I go to the holiday show at the skating rink, like a lot of the kids, like they put together like a routine, because it's like we're so serious all year long, competing. So like I always enjoyed that creative outlet for the skating. And I even like a few years ago I did a performance that I had put together. Mm-hmm. So I think like for me, when I started at Dance With Me and then like I really have enjoyed the showcases a lot. Like this past year, really all I did was my showcase.
Yeah.
I think it's like it has also been healing, and I think it's just like maybe I'm not coming up with the choreography myself. Now I'm working with my instructors to come up with the choreography, but like it's always been like a collaborative effort.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even for something like Cell Block Tango being the first one I did and then doing it again, it was just like it's one of those things that it's like it just. I watched the movie Chicago, like based on the play.
Yeah.
And I just remember this is like so opposite like who I am, and I just thought it was like fun, and it was like one of those things. Like as I started to appreciate theater,
right?
I really enjoyed, as I appreciated theater, I was like, this is like great, Like, and I would love to have skated to it, but it was like it never felt right.
Yeah.
Skating to it, so I was like, this is what I want to do. Like I have a partner, I have a guy I do this with. And, and then I'm working with people choreographing it that have been on Broadway. You know,
it's just like, yeah,
it was great, you know, and I think over the years, like I've done the contemporary pieces and like things that, you know, even pieces that I've done that it might not be like to the person witnessing it and watching the routine, like that it was something meaningful to me, and like it was helping heal. Like, I mean, I think even just like my hip hop showcase, healing for me. Just like I plan to do a series on my own Instagram channel at some point, page about just like how I really just like I love the Legally Blonde movie, and I think it's just very important for women and girls to see and like to understand. And just like I literally the last time I watched the movie, I took notes because I love that. To, like explain and like finally post my video of my dance. And just like why it was so important to me. So yeah, so I think that's really it. I think for me, I just want to get back to going to do like Latin and standard on a regular basis. Whether or not I'm able to compete this year, I think it's not something totally locking in. But like, I just want to be able to be making it regular in my schedule again, like moving and continue learning. It takes time, you know. It's time to build up this.
So, do you want to move on to the next thing?
Yeah, the last thing with was like just like primarily dance focused.
Yeah, pretty much. And then so our save that exactly. We've done this before, but again, we could go very quickly. And since we're here, might as well. So the last thing we had kind of about our deep dive into dance was our tips and advice for anyone starting dance. We did talk about this when we interviewed our instructor Elena, and we kind of had this conversation. But if you're new to the podcast, we can give you some ideas. Kind of like we talked about at that time. I think whether you want to do dance just as a hobby or kind of like us where we do it more competitively and more serious, I think finding a place that you feel like comfortable at, obviously, and then obviously has a good community. Because I think that's really the huge thing for me is that the dance community, it's big but also small at the same time, especially the ballroom dance community. Like you know so many people. Like you see everybody at the competitions and that stuff. And obviously with the studio and other things in dance in my dance club, I made some of my best friends from dance, and I think that's such a huge thing that if you find that in a studio, that's such an important thing. I also feel like if you want to challenge yourself and you find that, oh, I've never done this style before, but you see a group class that like, or a class, whether it's like a standalone class or at a studio, like go challenge yourself and take it, because that's, I think, will help you grow in a lot of ways. And I think just sometimes it can be scary to go and make that commitment to do that, but it's so worth it because like we talked about, dance is so powerful and everything like that. I think that's really like that's kind of a good idea to start.
Yeah, I think my tips too. I think in general, like I know there's so many different dance styles out there. Like we love the ballroom styles and everything, and we're happy with the studio that we're at with Dance With Me. But I think everybody's going to have different interests and different things. Like I mean, and we've just like, especially me, I've been at the studio over 9 years and I'm close to 10. Sometimes it might not be the right fit. Like you might go somewhere and maybe it's not the right fit for you. Whether it's like a time thing, a people thing, a financial thing, or whatever. Don't let one bad experience with dance discourage you. Where we're at, they have all the ballroom styles. They have expanded to do different things. Like they have regular events. We're meeting people that are very high up in the ballroom world that you'd never know. You never have the contacts like to meet, and that's just like what we're interested in. But I think we just want to see more people have the opportunity to dance. So like, don't feel like there's only like one way to do it.
Exactly. And I think that's
the biggest thing.
Yes. And I think that's why it's like we're so like grateful to have a studio that like, obviously we love the ballroom stuff. And that's what our studio focuses in. But our studio also gives us the opportunity, like you said, we've done hip hop showcases and contemporary stuff and everything, that we can do other styles besides ballroom as well. So we can kind of expand our dance repertoire, I guess you could say. And that's a super cool thing too. So. Yeah.
And I think it's just like, I've just been, because like once you see people like find their niche or whatever and like where they're the happiest, like I think that's great. So I think it's just, like everybody lives all over the place. You just got to find where you're happy.
Where you're happy.
Don't give up on dance.
Exactly. It's kind of like we said at the end of the Dancing with the Stars finale. It's like we want to celebrate people starting dance. Like that's like always a great thing.
And also just like, and also you can just go look on YouTube. There's
all tutorials or like beginner tutorials. That's totally cool too.
So back to questions.
Yes. Do you want to like go back and forth on this just so we can like ask each other?
Yeah. So I think all right. So I'll let you take the first question. Oh, actually, this one was just the topic that we wanted.
Oh yes, it was.
This was a question that we had.
Yes, this was a question that we had. So This first question is the top podcasts that we like that aren't related to the shows. Wow, that's really hard because most of the podcasts I listen to are related to the shows, and it's just because like everybody from the shows, like we talked about with Joey hosting the Dancing with the Stars official podcast this season, and then all the former Bachelor people, they have their own podcast now, whether it's Ashley and Ben with Almost Famous, and then Nick and all these people.
Yeah.
So like it's just
no, keep going.
Oh, okay. So looking at it's like I want to do the same thing too. I would probably say let me look because I gotta do the same thing. I would let me. Oh God.
I can start.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there's a bunch that I'm just trying to think of, just like general audiences. I mean, I love the Lady Gang podcast. I have been listening to them since they started. That is why I went to Lady World. I mean, Kelty was on a season of The Bachelor, but like they, and they bring it up to tease her every once in a while. But like, it's not really a Bachelor podcast. Mm-hmm. I really feel like they've just like paved the way for like female podcasters.
Yeah.
I do love, and I love so many. I also listened to the Bitch Bible by Jackie Schimmel. That she was on the Lady Gang at some point. So is Jackie is unhinged. I'm warning you right now. So if you listen to that, the Morning Show podcast, which is one, it's like kind of like a daily news one. It's by Carla Marie and Anthony, who are now married. They used to work together on Z100.
That's awesome.
They live in Seattle, but they were from New Jersey, and I don't know them personally, but like I know people that know them, and like they're super friendly. Like I've chatted with them on Instagram here and there before, and they live in Seattle now. And my coworkers, like we have another office in Seattle, so it's cool because they just do a quick recap of the news. It's like not exhausting.
Yeah.
And then what happens is then I just feel like they talk about things that are going on in Seattle, so I'm like I feel like connected to my coworkers. And
yeah. That's really cool.
And then Jay Shetty's Purpose on podcast On Purpose is great. Like
so good.
He's done great thought.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's all the non-Bachelor. And Adam, I've been like binging Adam Rappon's Intrusive Thoughts podcast because, like I said earlier in the episode, like I did used to train with him, and it's been years, but like I just heard a clip of it one time, and I was like, this is funny. And I just enjoy the way he explains everything. It's like also kind of. It's similar to Bitch Bible. So,
for sure. Yeah.
There's so many people, but I think the other ones that I like, they're primarily YouTubers. So I won't go into that now.
It's so funny because like you were saying, I'm looking through like Spotify and like iTunes playlists and stuff like that. Like 95% of my podcasts are Dancing with the Stars and Bachelor related to it. It's like which one's up right now? So I'm a huge sports fan, so I listen to a lot of like the sports recap and different analysis and stuff. So I listen to a lot of podcasts about that. Like I said, I'm a huge, one of my big passions as well is traveling. So there's this one podcast I like called the Travel Squad Podcast, which shout out to them. I think they're kind of underground. I don't know how popular they are. I know they're on YouTube as well. And it's this husband and wife and their friend, and they travel around the world and they talk about places that they've gone and like tips and like for different destinations and tips for packing and just different things as well. So it's really, they kind of pique my travel inspiration when I listen to them. And then I also, what's the other one? Oh, you also said that Jay Shetty. That's another one I like. And then I also like the Mel Robbins podcast. So Mel Robbins is great. So.
Listen to some of her episodes. I did read the Let Them Theory, and it's a great book.
It's a great
like people like went in on social media, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of it. But like I read the book. I listened to her podcast episodes. I was like, I cannot hit subscribe because I'm so far behind. But the episodes I listen, I do.
She does give a lot of good advice, and it's just helpful to listen to. See, I'd say those that are not Bachelor related or Dancing with the Stars. Yes.
So the next question that we got. Where are our dream travel destinations? So
speaking of travel.
No, that's why
I was going to say, yeah.
I think for me, my main one, the main place I want to go is Greece. I also do want to go to Italy because I am half Italian.
Yes.
In addition to my half Cuban side. And I mean, those are like the main things. I wanted to go on an Alaskan cruise for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
That's kind of been a thing, but I do like also want to go to the Caribbean. And that's, I don't know. Those are like, if I had to, and New Zealand and Australia, I'd love to go there. Yeah. Like those are the main places. It's not like I don't want to go to
Exactly. That's like the hard part for me because like I said, traveling is like one of the top passions of mine. So like I could stay here for like an hour talking about this stuff. So like to narrow it down, obviously, Australia and New Zealand are very, very big ones for me, for sure. I think just because they're so far away as well that like if I went there, I'd want to spend like a few weeks kind of exploring because it's obviously like 18 hours to get there. So it's like if I'm going now, I want to make it like a big trip out of it. Um, I would say I really wanted to go to Asia, just around Asia. That's a big thing of mine, and that may or may not be happening at some point this year. You know, you don't know. So again, that might be a spoiler. So we'll see. And then because I studied abroad, I went all over Europe, which was super cool. And there's still a lot of places that I have not been when I during that semester. One of the ones is Iceland, which
Iceland.
Yes, and that also may or may not be happening soon. It's in the plan, so maybe at some point at the end of the year I can share that I went there. And but yeah, that's like I've always thought, oh, Iceland would be super cool. So I would say those in general. So
I think the next question, they were targeted.
These were targeted, yeah. So maybe we could ask them to each other.
Yes,
yeah. So yeah. The next one is yours. So this is for you, obviously. And so what this question is asking is for you. What kind of year do you predict 2026 will be for you personally?
So I know the person that asked this question is I don't know if she wanted me to go into detail. Yeah. So like I'm big into like with astrology and numerology and all this. Yeah. Like I know that anyway. So 2026, I'm in a personal 6 year, which is it's about like home, family relationships, like all that stuff. So it's funny because like I go through this whole goal planning process every year, and where I'm like everything I was saying about adulting, like it kind of matches it up.
Right.
So I think for me for 2026, what I'm kind of like just imagining my year will be like. It's a lot of adulting. I think that's a lot of it. Like I'm trying to, step up at work. There's a lot on my plate right now with that. Just try to be, try to get rid of like clothes that I don't like or don't fit me anymore. Focus more on my health too. So I've been exercising a bit more, like trying to do different things. Because like, I think I'm trying to just get a little bit more in shape because like when I do want to return to dance, like, sometimes with dance, like we're going over the technique, and then it's like you have to go over the technique, and then you also have to drill it. But I think at the end of the day, like I think after I stopped skating, like I really, I've done different things over the time, but like I haven't gotten into like a regular exercise regimen. So I'm working on some of that stuff. I won't get into all the details, but I think just like focusing on health, like getting a little bit more stabilized, and like just focusing on, just like having more of my own rhythm and my own schedule, and just like trying to like balance out with my parents. Like they have their own things and I have my own things, but I'm like supporting them and all this stuff. So like just balancing that all out. So, and then just fitting in some fun times in between when I can.
Yes, yeah. It's just like at least to do some.
It's gonna be a boring year.
Yes.
but and then okay, so then for the question for you, the same person. What are your goals post graduation?
Oh boy, this is a very loaded question. So I kind of just like we were talking about with me being in my like last semester of college, I've kind of had to start thinking about this a lot more recently than like the last few years. I think the big thing is, I mean, besides looking for like a job or stuff like that, that's obviously a big thing on my mind, and I've been starting to look for jobs and internships and everything like that. Again, going back to the traveling thing, my goal is to try to do like a few trips after graduating, because I'd like to kind of do like celebrate graduating with just traveling. That's kind of like I want to have like with the kind of free time before getting a job, and because I've saved up some money to do that, to go and travel, and while I have that free time before I start the full-time job and everything like that. That's a big thing. Again, like you were saying, with kind of the better health as well, I wanted to continue focus on continue eating well and exercising, and continue dancing as well. Like even though, like I said, I won't be in the dance club anymore after this semester, I want to still maybe take classes in the city, and I'll obviously still be at the studio, so I'll have that going on. Just prioritizing the relationships and friendships I have in my life. That's a very big priority for me as well. So yeah, I would say those are like the main things, kind of just smaller picture and a bigger picture as well. Yeah.
So now we have some questions that are like just random. So,
yes, these are like random questions. Yeah.
Questions. It's from a bunch of different people.
Yes.
So okay, you go.
You want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. So the next one, this is a really interesting question. So if you were to travel back in time, where or who would you like to know and why?
So I was just thinking about this. I think my grandmother that I did not meet.
That's a good question.
I think that I was just like, not that I was like, oh, I'm gonna go that deep. I was like, no, but I'm like, no, that's my answer.
Yeah, exactly.
She had passed away years before I was born. So
yeah. Huh. This is hard. I'm probably gonna go similar and say my grandpa. I did obviously he passed away when I was 11, so I obviously did get to meet him, but he passed away before a lot of the stuff that's happened in my life now have happened.
Yeah.
And he actually, fun fact, he used to in the 70s he was a band leader in a big band. He used to play saxophone and clarinet. So he's really one of the people that inspired me to want to start playing music and just have music as a big part of my life. So that I would say him. Yeah. Okay, so you're next.
Yeah. The question for me, and you can give me your opinion.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Is a figure skating will Camille watch during the Olympics?
Too many. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
No, it's a lot. It's so hard because Peacock also like kicks the stream off after like 72 hours because there was a whole lawsuit a few years ago with the music.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. Because like what they're going to air on the television is not the whole
thing.
Like
yeah.
There's tons and tons and tons of skaters in every single discipline. Plus they have the team event now. So I mean, I can start doing math, but I'm probably going to be at least like 20 hours.
I probably would say the same thing, at least 20 hours. Yeah, for sure.
All right, you can ask the next question.
Okay, because it's more for me. I think this is for you because again, I'm not as educated in this as you are, so it's like I could give you like a thought or two, but like this is probably So, what sign in your zodiac chart, or what's your favorite sign in your zodiac chart, and why? Again, it all has to come back to the astrology for you.
I know. Like I know this person why they were asking me. I don't know my favorite. I get frustrated with some of it sometimes. I'm an Aquarius sun. So it's funny because like I think I did when I was like growing up, I was always interested in this. And I was like, I'm an Aquarius, and I'm an Aquarius. And like your sun sign from like my general understanding is kind of like how you like fit in the world.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh, I feel unique and like different and and this whole thing. So like I do feel like I resonate with that as like a standalone. I've learned about like all the different signs in my chart. But,
yeah.
And I don't need to bore you with all that. But I do feel like that's my favorite one because it's the one that I've like resonated with the longest. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much you know.
I don't think I even know. I don't even know any of mine. So it's like, we could like research this and we. No, it's like we could get back to this at some point. Yeah.
Next special episode of Ballrooms and
Bachelors, your zodiac chart.
Okay, next question.
This is a good one. I like this one.
Favorite theater show that you would watch again?
Wow.
Like it could be Broadway, off Broadway.
Yeah, and this is a really hard question because like. Another one big passion of mine along with like concerts is musical theater, like watching it.
Yeah.
So I probably can't say favorite. I'll probably go top 3 and then say an honorable mention just because I can't. I'm just too big of a fan to like. So I say my top 3 and my first one that's my favorite of all time is just because it got me into Broadway musical theater. People might be surprised by it is Mamma Mia. I just love the music from that and I love the story. Wicked is number 2. I love Wicked. And I'd say number 3 is 6. I love the music from 6. It's so good. It's like really poppy and dancey and stuff like that. It's super cool. And then the honorable mention I would say is Beetlejuice. It actually just closed. I just actually went to go see it a few weeks ago before it closed, and it's the music is great and the story is great. So I'd say those 4. Yeah.
So I haven't seen. Oh my goodness! Like one that I've seen that. My family friend used to work on Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, and so that's not on Broadway in New York anymore.
That's a good one.
But like that one was like I had gone a few times, and I would just love to be able to see that again because like my family friend was involved it was like a family, like generations of the family have been involved in the show. So like I'd love to see that again. I did not see it on Broadway, but I have seen Les Miserables twice.
That's a good one.
And it was both at like St. Joe's High School in Montvale, New Jersey. They have a great theater program, and I saw it when I was in high school because my friend's sister starred in it.
Ooh, that's awesome!
Like you rotate through like the all boys, all girls schools. Like shows. And that was the first time I ever saw Les Mis, and I love the story. I've read the book.
Yeah.
And then years later, a family friend now he has been in the play. They did St. Joe's like 2 years ago, and he was in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like how many, like all these years apart, and like same family friend tied to the Phantom family. So it's like really cool, this whole thing. I think like other theater show, like What have I seen on Broadway?
You haven't seen Chicago, right?
I didn't see Chicago on Broadway.
I want to.
I'd love to see Chicago.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, this is in no particular order. I mean, I saw Wicked and it was great, but I mean, like, I want to see it again too, but like not as. I mean, now they have a movie out, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to go see Wicked again, but like I'm not in a rush because like I think I've gotten like my fix for Wicked.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see Chicago on Broadway because I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, me too.
But I know like that the many times that they've brought it back, and even when they brought back Les Mis, a lot of people like they don't love the adaptation. So like I'm nervous to go see Chicago that it's gonna like ruin it for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it will still be great. And, like I can just look at it at that. I'm like, I don't think there's anything else. I did also see The Great Gatsby, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
That was good too.
I want to see that for sure. Yeah. There's one more that closed during the pandemic or like right when like COVID started, and it's Mean Girls, and I never got to see. I love the music from it, but I never got to see it. So I would love to see it if it ever came back. But yeah.
Those were good questions.
Those were very good questions. Okay, do you want me to take the next one? Oh, this one, like we were talking after, like before this, and I think you have a very strong opinion on this next one. So, what is your favorite Skittles color?
Skittles.
Oh man,
I haven't had them in years. I just remembered one time when I had them when I was younger, I didn't like them, and I've never bothered trying to have them again. So wow. This person, when I told them, I was like, oh, but I don't like Skittles, and they're like, you can change it. I'm like, no, I need to say I don't like Skittles.
She just get that opinion out there.
I'm just gonna say, like, I don't know. I don't taste the rainbow. I don't.
She hates the rainbow. That's what.
I think I would probably have. I feel like now I have to have Skittles again to see
if you like them. Yeah.
No, but I think with Skittles, I'm like I like it more than Swedish Fish. I also do not like Swedish Fish. I had them one time. They were in the car. It was like a hot day, and they were hot, and I was like, this is gross, and I'm like, never again do I want to have a Swedish Fish. So I don't. I'm weird with candy.
Just
What is your favorite Skittles color?
Oh boy. I would say, I mean, I'm not much of like again, I don't eat Skittles very often, but if I do, I'd probably say yellow for the lemon. I like lemon, and I also probably say orange for like I like orange a lot. They get you with in some of the packs because some of like the older packs they'll get you with green where it's green apple, and I don't like green apple, but sometimes it's lime. I'm like, oh, okay, I like lime. So sometimes I'll get like a green Skittle. I'm just like, no. So yeah. So I'd say those two.
So those are that. And then the last question, we did say we wanted a Harry Potter question.
Yes, and we got one.
Oh
boy.
Which character do you resonate most with?
And we got a request. So
and I got a request of how this is true.
Oh, I can't wait.
The character that I resonate most with is Hermione because, she's trying to get her priorities straight and these boys can't figure it out. So anyway, I was
just going to cut out that clip. Exactly. There you go. Just have that as a standalone clip, just the impression.
No, but I think I do think Hermione.
Yeah.
Hermione.
Yeah, there you go. Again, it's very, very cliche, but I'll probably say Harry.
Yeah.
Just because, again, like I resonate with his journey and where he got to come to where he became and everything like that. So I'd say him. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Do we still have some energy to do the rapid fire?
Yes, let's do them. We can go them really quickly. We go back and forth.
We're gonna try to see how we do this. I think maybe I'll start. I'll ask.
Okay. Then we can switch.
Give my answer, and then you answer, and then you ask the next
question. Yes, that's good. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we're ready.
Here we go. And go.
What are your favorite colors? Purple.
Blue. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
And answer your
Oh yes, breakfast.
Breakfast. Tea or coffee?
Hands down, coffee.
Tea.
Yeah.
We're answering so quickly.
Yes, I know.
Right, go next.
It says dogs or cats. Oh, me, yes. I can't choose. I love both. If I had to choose, I'd say cats, but I love both. Yes.
Cats, I just don't want to have one. Dogs, anyway. What was your favorite subject in grade school? Math.
History. 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, or separate? 2-in-1, hands down.
What's the one skincare product you can't live without?
Oh gosh. I don't even.
I use the tinted moisturizer from Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez because I like it because it's a light skincare and it's not like foundation like cakey, but it's like enough to just feel like I look alive. Yes, do you? I
don't even really have any. I just do some like moisturizers to just like not break out. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. McDonald's or Burger King? Me, I don't eat a lot of fast food, but if I had to pick, I'd say McDonald's.
McDonald's, even though I had Burger King this morning.
No.
It's like beach or pool? Beach.
Oh man. Beach. Yeah, beach. Vacation or staycation? Vacation, hands down. But I like staycation, but I would say vacation.
I mean,
But I like both.
I mean, I think staycation for me, even though like I think I just need the staycation so I can feel like, I don't know. I think it feeds my soul in a different way because I do love going on vacation, but the staycation, like sometimes it's just nice to be able to like exist in my space. No, I'm not answering this quickly. Okay, and this is too. Would you rather
this is so good.
Run on your hands or write with your feet? Right with my feet, because that running on my hands sounds really exhausting.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Yeah, right with my feet. Yeah. The last question. Okay, would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song you hear? Oh boy, this is hard. Can I say both because they both sound fun? I would say both. Both would be my answer because I think that'd be really fun. But if I had to choose, dance to every single song. Yeah.
I think dance to every single song because singing just also again sounds exhausting, and I don't have the greatest singing voice. So I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'd probably end up having to sing a lot of the 10-minute All Too Well.
Yes, if you know, you know. Exactly. And that just sounds really long. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well,
that's it.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, that was really fun.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If this is your first time joining us, just stay along for the ride. Our next episode will be closer to the airing of The Bachelorette with Taylor, Frankie, Paul. Mm-hmm. Definitely just follow us on social media. We're planning to revamp some things before we record next time. Mm-hmm. So, if you like this, please share it with a friend. Mm-hmm. Like, subscribe, follow us on Ballrooms and Bachelors Podcast on Instagram. And I think that's really it.
I think that's it. Yes, this was so great. I'm glad that we got to do this. I hope you guys got to get to know us a little bit.
Yes.
Just
a few things.
Yes, exactly. Like not too much, but all right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.